GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everybody, hello traders, welcome to another week. My name is Dima. We've got some more analysis of the markets for you this week. We are in the month of March. We've got the first week of the month. This being the first week of the month of March, we have NFP this week. It wasn't last week, so I'm going to watch out for that this week. And as ever, I'm going to give you some high probability opportunities. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back to another video. All right, let's begin as always with the economic calendar, and then I'll have a look at some of the potential setups for the week. So here's what we've got for this week. Quite a few bits of important economic announcements. So Monday, we've got from the Swiss, we've got CPI numbers. Tuesday, we have a big one. The first big one for the week is from Australia. We've got the rate announcement there. So want to watch out for that. That's why I've highlighted here. You've got a speech from the Fed on the dollar. That could be a significant one. And then we've got another speech from the Royal Bank of Australia later in the day. So following on from that rate. So watch out for the Aussie pairs on Tuesday. Wednesday, on the euro, we've got a speech from the ECB. Then we've got an employment change announcement on dollar. And then we've got another rate announcement from Canada there. So let's watch out for the CAD pairs and CAD based charts. So that includes oil and the CAD pairs. Dollar, we've got a Fed speech there as well towards the end of the day. And then on Thursday, jobless claims. And on Friday, another big one from Japan this time, monetary policy announcement. We've got GDP figures on the pound. And then we've got CAD unemployment rate together with the NFP. So NFP will be the big one for the week. Bear in mind, because of all these bits of news, we may have a slightly staggered market. The market tends to consolidate, to range before big news. So the week could be slow on certain charts, on certain assets. Just to bear that in mind while you're looking at the charts, okay? Right, so let's begin with what I've got for you for this week. As always, I'm going to start with the majors, and let's see what the charts were, the candles, and what the data is telling us at the moment, and go along with the flow of the market, of where it's at the moment. That's all we can do. And let's see what the charts are telling us. So let's begin with Aussie dollar, right? So Aussie dollar, we've had this reversal up here, and subsequently we've had weakness here, bearish weeks each time. And last week we had this brief pullback right here, but it's not a very strong pullback. We broke this low here, and then it looks like now we are going to continue to the downside. So let me just remove all of these markings for now. So the next downside will be obviously the low that we reached, and then after that this low, and after that the next low after that, if we get there, if we reach that point. So here's the week ended up bullish last week. However, we are in a bigger bearish scenario time frame on the, if you have a look on the monthly, here's that bearish monthly candle last month. And now we are just in this, I'm treating this week as a temporary pullback in price. So here we are in this so-called temporary pullback. The market has been ranging. And now if we go to the 4 hour, you can see we are in this range. Here's that last significant swing. And the point that I'm looking at right now is this area right here for the market to reverse off. Here's last week's high. So I would expect the market to reach there or have a little turnaround roundabout there. Now, if we get the price action, then the reversal from here to the next level would be where I'll be interested in, and then coming down to the next levels after that. So that is the Aussie dollar there, and continuing on that bias to the downside. Here is the mark we're at the moment. You can see that the whole week last week has been ranging, and that kind of hints at the factor that something bigger is coming. So we always have a range in the market and then a move, a range in the market and then a move. Most of the time, the market is consolidating, preparing for the next move. And as we are now in a downward trend, I'll be looking for that continuation to the downside. Okay, so fairly straightforward, that one on Aussie dollar. Let's have a look at the next one. I'll do another Aussie based pair. Let's have a look at Euro Aussie. So first thing to note, we just looked at Aussie dollar, so that is weakness in the Aussie, and with weakness in the Aussie, therefore if we're going to be in line with the market, then we're going to look, and we're looking at Euro Aussie, so it will be weakness in Aussie, strength in Euro, and that would be bullishness in Euro Aussie. So looking at the monthly, just quickly, let me just delete all the previous markings, clean up the chart. As always helps to clear up your mind. You always want to have a clean mind and not get distracted by anything else on your chart. Clean chart always helps. So here's that bullish momentum. We had the brief pullback and bullishness, brief pullback and bullish, and now looking to continue on that bullish pattern. Here's that obvious next high, and then another extreme high after that. So from here to there is about 300 or so pips. So again, looking for that continuation to the upside. Looking at the weekly, you can see the weekly has been breaking structure, continuing higher, 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 breaking highs, higher lows, and now I'll be looking at this to be high. Here's a major high, and then for that to be broken and continue to the upside, where we've got the nearest swing high, which is up here on the weekly. So with that bullish idea, let's go to the 4-hour lower time frame, and I can just see that the major swing that we've had is around about here. Is a major swing low here and a major swing high. Now we're stuck in this range for the week, and if I look at where we are in a nice cheap price, here would be a level of a nice cheap price. In fact, I can just extend it to the left. Here you go, and that would fall in with the 61.8 and 78 fib there. Let me just delete that, and that would be the idea for the week. So a drop to the downside, if that happens, some kind of reversal action pattern, and then continuing to the upside into the next level. So that is a nice 350 pips or so away. And the point, the low, the extreme low right here would be the invalidation point. Not expecting the market to go beyond that. However, leaving that opportunity, that possibility. If it does, then this whole thing would just be, invalidated, would just not be considering this idea anymore, because we'd be breaking significant structure lows. Okay, so that's the idea here. You can see that on the weekly, and after we get that drop, then continuation higher. That's what I would like to see if I'd be interested in taking a higher probability trade. Now, no idea what's going to happen. If we shoot right up at the beginning of the week, then we'll have to reassess. So that is the scenario on Euro Aussie there. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go to CAD yen. So weekly CAD yen. So as you can see, last week we had the bullish candle expecting bullishness, and this week we did not get that bullish push. We ended up with a bearish week, kind of neutral, ended up closing round about the middle, more weak than anything else. And if I look at it on the lower time frame, you could see we ended up basically more or less where we started, right? So here's the end, here's the beginning, and we were looking for that. At least that's what I was anticipating for this level, and we had the much deeper retracement, and we bounced back, and now we've come back down. Now that we've come back down, the question mark is whether this will actually hold. So the idea is still bullish because we are still in an upward momentum. The only question now is where will be an opportunity if there is one. So let's go back to the weekly. Here's our target that I'll be looking for to reach towards 101.2. And then I look at the low time frame. What you can see is that there is a bit of a squeeze here, bit of a consolidation. At the moment. So some people call this a flag, whatever pattern you want to call it, but the bottom line is that we are in a ranging movement. So what I'd really like to see is that where we have a swing, break a high, and then once the high is broken, then to go higher. At the moment it's not quite clear because we are ranging, so if we do get a breakdown below this level, so this is the significant low, the last significant low, so which is from 2 weeks ago, if we break below, then I would be scrapping this and reconsidering it completely. At the moment, because of this ranging movement, it's not quite clear, so I want to see another push higher, another clear push to this level and higher beyond this level in order to consider entering CAD yen here. At the moment it's bullish, and the idea is to take this high right here. Remembering we've got yen news, remembering that there could be a possibility of more ranging movement, more sideways movement, however you want to call it. And then it may take a bit more patience to wait until the news plays out and we have some closing momentum, preferably on the daily or on the 4-hour, to watch out there. So is that significant low? We're currently still bullish, don't see any reversal patterns here, and because of that, looking for the continuation to the upside. Once we get a swing, that will be the higher probability scenario for me there. Again, CAD pair, remembering there's CAD news, yen, there's also yen news this week. So let's see how things shake out first before actually entering. Another CAD pair for this week, I've got New Zealand CAD. Having a look here on the monthly, why did I choose this one? Well, we had this big push up and now we are in a retracement phase for New Zealand CAD on the monthly at least. So looking on the monthly, that is in retracement phase. Looking on the weekly, you can see we've got lower high and lower low. So I'll be looking for a continuation to the downside. Here's the level that I'll be interested in. If I draw a fib, you can see that we haven't even reached the halfway mark yet. So I'll be looking for more downside in the New Zealand CAD there because of that, and weakness on the weekly, and looking on the 4-hour with this level in mind. So what I would like to see, prefer to see, is in terms of confirming that we are going to the downside and to show us that the market does want to go lower, I would want to see a break of this low. Excuse me. Break of this low, and then continuing a pullback and continuing to the downside to reach into this zone here. And let's just mark out that price level. So here about 82.826, 825. That is the place I am interested in to reach into. And if that happens, then this will be the idea. If we break higher and the market goes higher instead, then I would be scrapping this idea and reconsidering it perhaps after this week has finished. At the moment, it's not quite that clear. You can see the week ended up bullish, engulfed, but we had this week. And if we close above last week on the daily, that would be an indication that we are possibly going higher. More likely going higher. At the moment, the probabilities for me are still to the downside, and to do that, we want to see a nice confirmation and the market to go lower. Nice momentum lower there. I'm taking this as a kind of range, as a sort of sideways movement. It's not quite clear, so I really want to see significant breaks of these highs before considering if the market wants to go higher. So that's New Zealand CAD. Okay, let's move on to let's go to the S&P. So S&P and indices is something that we've been looking at for a while. So here we are. We've had a break of these highs. Again, let me just clear up the chart, right? It's always much better, much cleaner, rather than getting confused. So here we've got a break of these highs. Now this here, we do not yet know whether this is a pullback or we are heading lower. We've broken some structures here to the downside. However, there's still a bit uncertainty. We still have more bullishness than bearishness because we have broken higher highs and higher lows, and it's possible that this could be a swing. So we ended last week as this bullish pin bar. Have a look on the daily. Last Friday and Thursday was also bullish, and I'll be looking for the market to reach higher prices into here, and then the second target, second idea would be up here. So with that, the higher prices with this possible swing, I'll be looking for another swing, another entry, and that would be on the 4 hour round about this area here. So a nice pullback. Don't want to be buying an expensive price. As always, get a cheaper price. So the cheaper price is down here, and there's always a reversal to the first target would be up here, and then a second target would be up there. So looking at it conservatively at the beginning, so here's that first idea, and that would be the idea for this little move here. You can see we've broken structures up here. If you want to draw a trend line, you can draw a trend line if that's your thing, but the main thing to notice, we've broken these areas and pushed higher. Very, very clear impulsive move higher. But to get in on this move, want to see a nice better price, don't want to be chasing it. So that's the high probability on the S&P index, and that's where the bias is for the moment for me in terms of probabilities. Okay, I'll move on to oil, and crude oil is something we've been looking at last week as well. And here's some drawing from last week, as you can see. So this was the area to look for, and the market did indeed respect this area. You can see it went off, rejected, moved higher, and then created this big pullback, probably stopped many traders out, and then continued higher. So here's that big impulsive move higher, and we have gone beyond this point. It looks like the indication is to the upside. You can see here's Friday, is that big engulfing bullish Friday candle. What I would like to see is, now that we've got, this is the first hint, and then here would be the second hint if we break above that. Considering we are still in this big range, I wouldn't call this the highest probability trade or idea, but I have always kept staying with the bullish idea on oil because that's where the market seemed to be. And then at the moment, the price is really showing that fact as well. So a nice better price into a level which would be down here. That would be a much preferred scenario. Here's the top of the range, and then beyond the range is this level up here. So I marked that before some time ago. Where did I mark that? Yeah, sorry, no, that's the fib. So you can take that fib away. So here's that first level, the top of the range, and then the high, the next high would be this point up here. So just not to confuse you, let's take the nearest one. And a nice better price moving to the highs, and then beyond we've also got these significant highs up here. So there's that swing. That will be the higher probability scenario for me. If we get a better price and a reversal, that could be a trade idea. Now the invalidation point would be this low. So now we can let's just remove this. Let's leave it here. The validation point will be this low. So if we go beyond this low, then I'm looking at lower prices, not higher. If we get, for some reason, we get this big reversal and breach this low. Here's that price. Let me just put it here. Here's that zone around about 78. And that's the trade idea for crude oil in terms of probabilities to the upside. However, bearing in mind we're in this big range. So again, want to manage your risk and watch out, see if you really get a good price, a good entry, and a good risk to reward. If it's worth it, then it'll be worth taking the trade. But if not, you'll have to play it by ear and maybe wait. Again, once again, NFP week. Could be some more volatility in the market. You never know where the market takes you, and we'll see after it plays out. It's maybe a game of patience, as I was saying last week, and applies to this week as well. Okay, finally, Bitcoin, as I was looking at last week, and last week what was the idea? Well, the bullish dollar, continuing bullishness this week. The idea stays the same, looking at a bearish entry, a bearish trade to continue to this low, and then the low to fill this gap once we hit this high up here. So let's look on the 4 hour. What happened? Well, here was that zone, and just as expected, we went into this area and then headed lower. So exactly as expected, and now we pushed lower again. So once again, I'll be looking for same idea, continuing to the downside, and in this case we've got this area here. So a reversal of this area would be interesting. And the invalidation point would be this high up here. So if we breach this high, then I'll be scrapping this idea and won't be looking at that anymore. Let's just delete these. It's not necessary right now. So the idea is bearish, bullish on the dollar, bearish on Bitcoin, which is priced in dollars. So that's the inverse of what the dollar is doing. So you could see that here we broken lower, we had this big momentum to the downside after this ranging market, and now getting another better price and continuing lower down to about the 20k level here, and possibly even lower to about 18. So here, that's what it is for the moment in this bearish scenario on Bitcoin to the downside. And that fits with the bullishness on the dollar, like I was saying. And bullishness on the dollar is also weakness on Aussie dollar. So it's kind of merging together, synchronizing together, as you could say, in the market. So watch out for the news this week. As always, manage your risk if you are trading around the news, or you may want to wait a little bit and see where the price action leads you to and how the market is moving, and then make your decision. Don't try to trade everything all at once, but just pick the opportunities that are right within your process and right for your risk management. Okay, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope this helps you. Have a good trading week. Watch out for those bits of news, as I was saying. So we've got yen, we've got CAD, we've got NFP, of course, which could affect most of the markets, I would say, if not all. And what else do we have there? The Australian as well. Okay, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you for next week. Have a good trading week, guys, and manage your risk, as I keep repeating, as number one, being risk managers. Okay, catch up with you next week, guys, for more setups and more charts. Bye for now.